How great would it be if life was a game? If we had levels showing above us, we could gain experience and we could set up our status as we wanted. But if we ask our protagonist, he wouldn't agree. We see Jihan Han, the lead character of this story, looking unmotivated and looking around at everyone in his classroom. His friend Seonil Shin is trying to cheer him up but he's unsuccessful. His level is 25. We find out that he learned martial arts and won gold medal at junior championship, and thanks to that he doesn't have to worry about getting into college. We find out that Jihan's level is only 4. Probably that's one of the main reasons he's so down. He recently got this weird power called the Gamer, and his life turned into a game-like world, getting quests for doing daily chores, when he's doing his homework, or he's getting experience by working out or studying. He's asked by his mother to buy some tofu, that creating a new quest, and he's leaving to fulfill the mission. It's a bit weird for him because in a normal game you get experience by killing monsters, but in his game world he's getting it from actions and quests. Even though it's been quite some time since he's got the ability, he only gained 1 level. He rushed to put the status point he gained from leveling up in strength, but now he's thinking that was a bad idea because in today's society you don't need strength. Intelligence is much more suited. Jihan arrives at home with the tofu that his mother asked him to buy, and now we get to have a better look at his mother, who despite being above 40 years old, is very young looking, and also, for an unknown reason we cannot see her level, that making Jihan ask himself if she's special as well. The meal is almost done, but Jihan's dad will have it on his own. Sometimes, in great need to use superpower, but the point is, sometimes, and in novels or comics, heroes have a sixth sense that helps them, but stuff like that cannot happen to an ordinary man like Jihan. That's what he's thinking when the next day he's gotten himself in a very weird situation. We see face to face a red-haired girl. Shiyeon Kwan level is 32 and her opponent is a man in a suit, Seongan Han, which has level 46. It seems that Seongan attacked Shiyeon to test her, but we don't find out more about that because the fight has started. Seongan is a black summoner and he invoked a 3-headed wolf that now jumps at Shiyeon. The wolf spits fire in her direction, but she jumps through it unfazed using her spirit flame arts. Seeing all this, Jihan is not sure if he's dreaming or not, and he decided that the best course of actions is to run. On the run he got stuck in something brown on the road. It seems that was a slime controlled by the black summoner, using him as a hostage so Shiyeon won't run away. That infuriating the spirit flame fighter because her opponent involved an ordinary man. In this situation Jihan got a new skill, observation. This skill gave him the ability to see more information about his target, and he used it on the slime. It seems that has 1200 HP and level 16. This looks like a tough opponent for Jihan. The 3-headed wolf attacks Shiyeon again with fire, but she easily blocks it and jumps in front of one of the wolf's heads and punch it in the jaw and then again in the stomach, this defeating it. Now the slime attacks her, but she easily defeats it. Jihan is still stuck in it. He's repeatedly trying to remove it from his leg as he sees the summoner summoning something else, and through this process he got a new ability, Tear Off. He used the ability freeing himself and hitting the slime for 100 damage. He did it again when he found a weak spot in the attack pattern of the slime, hitting it with critical damage. After another hit the slime was defeated and Jihan got 1290 experience points, that leveling him up 2 times and making him realize that hunting monsters would be a much better way to level up than what he was previously doing. On the other side we see Shiyeon defeating the praying mantis that was invoked by Seongan. Seongan is now missing. He probably left after invoking the bug. Shiyeon approaches our protagonist asking him what is he, because that's not something an ordinary man can kill. But Jihan, keeping his cool, scolds her, telling her that she should ask him if he's okay after he just survived from death, and that he also has lots of questions, so he proposed to ask questions in turns. The girl agrees and asks the first question. Who is he? After Jihan responded she leaves. He just got fooled by the girl without knowing how to exit the protected space where all of this happened, but not long after the space cracked and disappeared. Jihan is now back to his real life. It seems that the adventure he had in the morning made him be late at school, and his homeroom teacher is now punishing him. He's a teacher that only focuses on one thing, to do the things right, if they don't he beats them. That's why gangs in his classroom are quiet. The teacher is good at fighting, because in the past, those who had a grudge attacked him before, but their arms and legs got broken. Because of the hard punishment, a new skill was created for our protagonist, physical endurance. After the class has finished, Seonil goes to Jihan asking him why was he late, but Jihan is not telling him the truth, but he's even more impressed of Seonil's level now after all that he witnessed in the morning, because an ordinary person should not be able to have such a level. Now he's more determined to understand his power. Now that he thinks about it, he didn't give it to much thought except the quests and what he show through observations. He hasn't done much else to understand things. Now he tries a voice command, status screen, and what do you see? A status window appears in front of him. He can also use an inventory. Doing all that, he was not paying attention at his class anymore, so he got a scolding from a teacher again. At the end of the day he didn't pay too much attention to the classes he had. All he did was to check his abilities and status, but he now understand better what he can do. Accepting the 3 skills he got through repetition of an action, he had 2 other passive skills. One of them was Gamer Spirit, a passive skill that keeps him calm in every situation and grants him immunity to mental disorder. The other passive skill, Gamer's Body, makes the body feel the reality as a game, so if he's getting damaged the pain goes away quick after he refill his health bar. After finding out about what he's able to do, he now has another problem. How can he escape the protected space? And even if he can, what should he do if he find people like those in the real world? The next day Jihan is stacking up on items that he put in his inventory, but they are very weak for what he needs, so he's thinking if he can manufacture them like you do in games, but he leaves that for later. Now he has more important stuff to do. He found out that you can get skills through repeating an action, so he start hitting a tree with a baseball bat. After a few hits he got the skills Strong Hit and Skilled Weapon. After repeating the hit multiple times, his mana bar was empty and mana recovery rate is 1 per 1 minute. That's going to take a while to refill. At the end of the day we see a sweaty Jihan that practiced the entire day. Because of his gamer body, when he got exhausted, he had a 30 minutes break and he was able to practice again. Thanks to this training day his critical hit got to level 3, and weapon skills got to level 5. When that happened he got an increase of 30% damage while using a blunt weapon, also an increase of 10% of his attack speed. As Strong Hit got increased to level 3 his critical damage skill increased by 150% and critical damage skills by 17%. For the moment, Jihan is saving his status points, so if he uses them to increase his power, the overall attack will be much stronger, but he should take everything in consideration. His mana is 100, that's enough for only 30 strong hits. His strength is also not enough. 30 minutes is a long time, while if there are too many enemies and he doesn't have time for a break. Also, what if the enemies are too fast? Shouldn't he increase his agility? There are too many variables. It's not a good idea to use his status points right now. Jihan decides to go home and thinks of what should he use as an excuse for being so late. On the way home he realized that it's too quiet. Even if it's that late, he got his baseball bat out of the inventory and got prepared for a fight as he thought this is a protected space. And what do you see? He was right. Multiple zombies appear on the street in front of him. Observation was used. The zombies are level 8 and have 800 health. His cool mind helps him to focus on what he has to do. He's looking for a narrow alley, but as he run towards it a zombie appear in front of him. He hits it in the head, giving it 400 damage with a critical hit, that putting him on thoughts again. That's a chance he cannot miss. He goes towards the alley again, but finds 3 zombies there which he kills and clears the alley. Another group of zombies is now coming towards him. Now he decided to stop using the ability so he won't consume his mana too fast. He starts beating up the zombies using regular attacks. After he finished killing the zombies that attacked him, Jihan climbed a wall to see what's going on around. Now he sees that there are lots of zombies around him, also a weird red sphere. The sphere made the zombies angry and gave them aggro towards Jihan. He kills another zombie as it climbed the wall to attack him and he leveled up, but he doesn't have the time to check his status right now. The dark sphere absorbed all the zombies. Behind it seems to be the black summoner, but the summoner didn't see Jihan. After grabbing the sphere, Sengen breaks the protected space and leaves. It seems there are lots of stuff that Jihan doesn't understand, and he needs to find out a way to survive in this world. The fastest way he can think of is to ask his friend, Seonal Shin. The next day he goes early to school and meets Seonal there, who teases him for being that early. Jihan is treating Seonal with snacks and rushes him to finish because he has some questions to ask. How can I get out of a protected space? Without much thought, Seonal starts to answer the question, then grabbed Jihan by the neck, asking him what did he do with his friend. In this serious situation, Jihan's answer was, "I am your father," that making Seonal believe it is actually the real Jihan. Jihan is now filling Seonal with all the details about his powers, and Seonal is very surprised when Jihan tells him that he already knows that he's the successor of Cheonbu Guild. Now it's Seonal's turn to explain what's going on to Jihan. He asked Jihan if he knew about Gaia theory. Jihan responded with what he knew about it. That the theory proposes the Earth is alive, and the Earth itself can exert its will. It was never proved scientifically, so it is often used in fantasy novels or games. Needless to say, it's a stupid theory which he knew from video games. What if Gaia theory is true? Asks Seonal. He continues. There are supernatural powers. Some people say it's providence. Others say it's been called the principle or origin. Now you talk nonsense, said Jihan. Seonal asks him to let him finish. Some people have a different name for it, but generally they call it God. You know, ghosts do exist, continues Seonal. Also, the most well-known power that people possess is telekinesis, like bending a spoon. But there are other powers too. Some people can teleport, others can ignite fires, and these people are called innate fighters, because they are born with special abilities. Going back to Gaia theory, it's believed that Gaia gave special abilities to innate fighters. It's like God chose them. In other words, the Earth gave Jihan the ability. Then how come my ability is so weird, if Gaia gave it to me? Asked Jihan. Gaia gives different abilities to each innate fighter, and usually the abilities they receive are related to what they care the most, said Seonal. So the reason for Jihan to receive that ability is because he liked so much playing games. After Jihan understood what Seonal explained, he's now eager to learn about the protected spaces. It's a space for fighting, responded Seonal. Gaia gives innate fighters not only their abilities, but also limitations, which are called preventative power, which means that if they overuse their powers and seriously impact the real world, Gaia will shut them down. Let's say you win the lottery using your power. From that moment you will be in big trouble. For example, you'd be struck down by lightning, or get in a car accident. Eventually you'd suffer misfortune. The more influence you exert on the world, the more trouble you'll get yourself into, explained Seonal. As a shorter explanation, it's okay unless people think it's weird, said Seonal. You should have used the shorter explanation from the beginning. Going back to where they started, Seonal tells Jihan that in a protected space you can use your powers without limitations. So that's the easiest place for fighters to fight using their power, because Gaia helps them enter the protected space. You also can enter a protected space, said Seonal to Jihan, and continues by showing him how. You can create protected spaces by focusing on creating it and releasing the energy through your hand. Getting out is the opposite, said Seonal. Jihan tries now to exit it but failed. He doesn't know how to release the energy. Seonal explained him that he has to stretch his fingers and concentrate on releasing the energy through his hand. He was now able to do that, and a new skill was created, Mana Power Attack. Jihan loses focus when that happens and gets scolded by Seonal. After he tries again, he broke the protected space. Another skill was received. Escape from instant dungeons. Now Jihan tries to create a protected space, that giving him the skill, making instant dungeon. After he learned how to enter and escape the instant dungeons, Seonal asked him what are his plans now, because he needs to be careful because he told him only about the innate fighters, but they are not the only ones. There are also acquired fighters. They are fighters who acquire their powers through training. Seonal is one of them. Seonal demonstrates his power to Jihan. He also told him that he's not a true acquired fighter because he was good at controlling energy since he was young, but he had to train to become powerful. Jihan said that he's gone raise his level and become more powerful than Seonal. But Seonal asks him again about his plan from now on because what he told him was just the beginning. The innate fighters and acquired fighters are involved in illegal activities that get themselves stronger, and either if Jihan wants it or not he will be dragged into that. If he wants a normal life he should stop leveling up. But if he still wants to increase his power he should start preparing, otherwise he'll die. That's the only way to survive in the abyss, he said, breaking the protected space, also asking him not to leave his house tonight because he's going to take care of the Dark Summoner.